Wow, you weren't kidding when you said you wanted a deep dive this time.
Not at all. This one's a doozy.
This whole Canada-India situation, it's got everything.
It really does. It's like ripped from the headlines, you know?
Assassinations, like international intrigue,
Oh, yeah.
organized crime. It's
got it all.
wild.
Yeah, and it all kind of exploded so quickly, it seems.
Right.
It went from 0 to 60 in like a heartbeat.
Exactly. So we've got a ton of articles to get through about all this, so let's just dive right in.
Sounds good to me.
So to understand what's going on, we really have to go back to the beginning with the murder of this Hardeep Singh Nijjar.
Yeah, definitely.
Now, he was a Canadian citizen,
Right.
but he was also like a really prominent figure in the Sikh separatist movement.
A key figure, really, and that's a crucial part of this whole story, understanding his background.
Okay, so back in June, Nijjar is gunned down outside a temple in British Columbia.
Right.
And at first, it just seemed like, obviously a horrible tragedy, but like a local thing.
Right, a local crime, you know?
And then Trudeau drops this bombshell.
I mean, nobody saw that coming.
Right. He publicly accuses the Indian government of being behind it, of having Nijjar assassinated.
Yeah, you don't see that every day. A G7 leader
Right.
pointing the finger directly at another democratic country, accusing them of that.
It's like, what?
Yeah, it's virtually unheard of in this day and age, and it shows how serious Canada is about this whole thing.
Okay, so to fully get what this all means, we have to talk about this Khalistani movement.
Right, because it's at the heart of everything.
So this is a movement advocating for an independent Sikh state, basically.
Exactly. And they want this Khalistan, as they call it, carved out of the Punjab region, which spans parts of both India and Pakistan.
Okay, so we're talking like right in the thick of South Asia here.
Yeah, a historically and culturally significant region.
And for Sikhs, especially Sikhs living abroad all over the world.
Diaspora, right?
Yeah, this idea of an independent homeland of Khalistan, it's hugely important.
Absolutely. It has deep historical roots, religious significance. It's a powerful symbol for them.
So Nijjar, as a vocal advocate for Khalistan.
Right. He was a leading voice.
India's obviously not happy with him.
Well, they see the whole Khalistani movement as a threat, a direct threat to their national security.
Yeah, I can see how that would cause some tension.
It's been a really long and troubled history between the Indian government and Sikh separatists, both within India and internationally.
So then Trudeau comes out and says what he says.
Yeah, you could practically hear the jaws hitting the floor.
And how did India respond?
Oh, they did not mince words, let me tell you.
Oh, really?
Full denial, complete and total. They called the accusations ridiculous, politically motivated.
So they're basically saying Trudeau is just stirring the pot.
Pretty much. And it gets even more interesting because they didn't stop there.
Oh.
Oh, yeah, they fired back with their own accusations.
No way.
Yeah, they claim Canada's been harboring Khalistani separatists, turning a blind eye to, quote-unquote, extremist activities.
So now they're saying Canada is part of the problem.
Exactly, and all of a sudden this goes from bad to worse.
Yeah, this is a full-blown diplomatic crisis now.
Absolutely, and it just keeps escalating.
And at this point, things go from a war of words to actually doing something about it.
Right, like it's not just talk anymore.
So what happens?
Both sides, they actually expel diplomats.
Oh.
Like, they basically tell each other's ambassadors, get out.
Seriously.
Yeah, 6 diplomats from each side are told to pack their bags. It's a huge deal.
That's not a common thing, is it?
No, not at all. I mean, it's basically like the diplomatic equivalent of breaking off relations.
Wow. So what's the reaction to this? I mean, the rest of the world must be watching this whole thing unfold.
Yeah, everybody's kind of looking around like, what just happened?
Wait.
Like, the U.S., they urged India to cooperate with the investigation that Canada wants to have into Nijjar's death.
Okay.
The U.K., they're in a tough spot because they've got a sizable Sikh population, too. They kind of echoed what the U.S. said, but they emphasized this whole rule of law thing.
Which is like a subtle dig at India?
Yeah, maybe. But it's interesting because all 3 of these countries, Canada, India, UK, they're all part of the Commonwealth.
Oh, right. I forgot about that.
So it's like family drama, you know?
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. Okay, so we've got the diplomatic fallout, but there's also that incident with the Air India flight.
Oh, yeah, that was pretty wild.
It turned out to be a hoax, thankfully, but still.
I mean, a bomb threat.
Yeah, you have to wonder if it was connected to all of this.
It definitely adds to the tension, that's for sure.
No kidding. So, okay, things are already tense, and then there's this whole other layer to the story.
What's that?
This guy, Lawrence Bishnoi.
Oh, yeah, Bishnoi. Now, that's a whole other rabbit hole.
Who is he?
So he's this Indian gangster locked up right now, but he's got this huge network.
Like international?
Oh, yeah, across multiple countries.
Okay, and how does he fit into all of this?
Well, Canada claims that Indian diplomats were actually working with Bishnoi's gang
Wait, seriously?
to, get this, to assassinate Nijjar.
You're kidding. Diplomats working with gangsters.
That's what Canada's alleging.
I mean, if that's true, it's kind of terrifying, isn't it?
It's definitely a disturbing thought, the idea of a state using organized crime to silence critics, even if they're in another country.
I mean, it's like, where do you even draw the line?
Yeah, it really makes you think about what's going on behind the scenes, you
It's
know.
big time. And for Canada, this can't be just some, like, abstract political game.
Not at all, not with the Sikh population they have there.
Right, it's a massive community.
Huge, over 700,000 people. And a lot of them are, like, very politically active.
Yeah, they care about this stuff.
Absolutely. And for them, this isn't just headlines, this is their history.
Their identity.
Exactly. So Trudeau, he's got to be feeling the pressure.
You're no kidding. I mean, trying to keep everybody happy.
Right, because on the one hand, you've got India, this growing power, economically, politically.
You don't want to alienate them.
But then there's this huge part of your own population that wants you to take a hard line.
What a mess. And then you factor in the economic side of it, too.
Oh, yeah, the trade between these two countries.
Right.
That's huge.
Billions and billions of dollars at stake.
It's not just about the money either, though.
Right. What else?
Well, you have to think about the geopolitical stuff. India is a big player, especially in the Indo-Pacific.
So we're talking like China, Japan, Australia, that whole region.
Exactly. And they're all kind of, trying to figure out where they fit.
And Canada's right there with them.
Part of NATO, allied with the U.S. It's complicated.
No kidding. So where does this all go from here?
That's the million-dollar question, isn't it?
Seriously, like, is this just going to keep escalating?
It's hard to say, but this whole thing, it definitely makes you wonder.
About what?
Well, like, are we going to see more of this kind of thing?
More accusations, you mean?
Yeah, governments accusing each other of these, like, really serious things, reaching across borders.
To silence critics.
It's a scary thought, but it feels like we might be headed that direction.
Yeah. Okay, well, I don't know about you, but I need a drink after all that.
I could go for one, too.
This is one of those situations where, like, you really need to just kind of sit with it for a bit.
Process it all.
Exactly. But hopefully what we've talked about today at least gives everyone a starting point.
Yeah, some context for all the craziness.
Exactly. So, yeah, keep an eye on this one, folks. It's far from over.
Absolutely not.
As always, thanks for diving in with us today. We'll be back next time with more, well, who knows what.
Until then.
Stay curious.